Welcome back to Mr. Magazine, where stories go beyond the headlines and reach the heart of what truly matters: love, fame, and the fragile line between reality and performance. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe, tap the join button, and leave a like, because today's story will take you deep into a moment that blurred the boundaries between acting and raw emotion. Let's dive in. It was supposed to be another ordinary filming day, long hours under the studio lights, scripted emotions, and perfectly timed dialogue. Yet that morning, something in the air carried a weight that no one could ignore. Behind the laughter of makeup artists and the soft hum of cameras warming up, there was a silence that hinted at something brewing beneath the surface. When Yağmur Yüksel stepped onto the set, there was an undeniable shift in the atmosphere. Her usual radiant presence seemed dimmed, replaced by a quiet melancholy that cast a shadow over her features. Observers whispered that her eyes looked tired, her steps slow, and most telling of all, she carefully avoided the gaze of Barış Baktaş, her co-star and, according to countless rumors, the man who once held her heart both on and off the screen. At first glance, everything proceeded as usual. The director shouted action, and the pair slipped seamlessly into their characters, their chemistry still alive, still electric, the kind of connection that once made them Turkey's most beloved on-screen couple. But beneath the surface, the tension was palpable. Then came the breaking point. In the middle of a scene charged with emotion, Yağmur's voice faltered. A tremor ran through her hands. Suddenly, she stopped mid-sentence, tears glistening in her eyes, and whispered, barely audible, "I can't do this anymore, not like this." The script slipped from her fingers, pages fluttering across the floor like fragments of something already lost. Without another word, she turned and ran off set, leaving a stunned silence behind her. Every camera stopped rolling. The air was thick with disbelief. Barış stood motionless for a moment before instinctively moving after her, but before he could reach the doorway, the director's voice cut through the chaos, demanding a break. Someone later swore they heard him call out, voice cracking under the strain, "Yağmur, please. I never meant to hurt you." But by then, she was gone. Within minutes, the digital world ignited. Social media platforms exploded with speculation, hashtags bearing their names trended across Turkey as fans scrambled to understand what had just unfolded. Some whispered of an argument earlier that morning. Others claimed the emotions that surfaced during filming were too real to be contained. One insider even confessed that Yağmur had told Barış she couldn't continue pretending, not when every line, every touch, reminded her of feelings she had never truly let go of. Later that day, witnesses saw Barış leaving the studio alone, his expression distant, eyes filled with something that looked a lot like regret. When a reporter asked him if he wished to comment, he uttered only a single sentence that would echo through the tabloids for days. "The heart doesn't follow scripts." It was a statement both poetic and heartbreaking, one that hinted at truths too painful to name. That evening, as the media frenzy reached its peak, Yağmur broke her own silence, but not with words. On her Instagram story appeared a black background with a single line. "Sometimes walking away is also a way of loving." The message hit like lightning. Fans flooded her comment sections, pleading for reconciliation, urging her to talk to him. "True love doesn't end like this," one wrote. "Fight for it," said another. But according to those close to her, Yağmur had made up her mind. "She's tired of fixing what she didn't break," said a friend quietly. "She gave everything she could, now she's choosing peace." Days passed. Production halted. Official statements spoke of schedule adjustments, but insiders whispered of emotional exhaustion and broken spirits. A crew member later revealed that the energy on set had become unbearable. Every time they looked at each other, she said, you could feel everything: love, pain, regret. It wasn't acting anymore. Boris, known for his discipline and focus, seemed transformed. He spoke little, smiled less, and spent long hours in his dressing room, staring at his phone as if waiting for a message that would never come. Then, late one evening, a post appeared on his social media account, a black and white photograph of a coffee cup beside a crumpled napkin. On the napkin, written in faded ink, were the words, "Love doesn't vanish. It just learns to be silent." Fans interpreted it as a message, perhaps even an apology. Within minutes, thousands of comments poured in. Is he talking to Yağmur? One follower wondered. He still loves her, another insisted. The image went viral, shared across platforms, dissected by fans who refused to believe that their story had truly ended. Yet Yağmur remained silent. No reaction. No acknowledgement. Her silence, once again, spoke volumes. And that silence, that aching, unspoken stillness, only made the public more fascinated. One user captured the collective feeling perfectly. They don't need to speak. Their eyes have always told the story. Meanwhile, others praised her strength. Walking away doesn't mean weakness, someone wrote. It means knowing when love has stopped being kind. At Mr. Magazine, we couldn't help but ask, what do you, our viewers, think? Is silence a form of strength, or a wound that refuses to heal? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video if you believe real love never truly fades. A few days later, Yağmur was spotted at Istanbul airport. Dressed entirely in black, sunglasses shielding her eyes, she walked briskly through the terminal, her headphones on, her posture straight, but her aura heavy. Eyewitnesses say she boarded a flight to Cappadocia, the same city where she and Boris had once filmed some of their most iconic romantic scenes. The symbolism wasn't lost on anyone. Maybe she went there to close the circle, one fan speculated online. To end what began in that magical place. The next morning, the internet awoke to yet another surprise. Boris posted a photo of a sunrise, the first light of dawn stretching across the horizon, accompanied by a single line. I still believe in miracles. The timing was impossible to ignore. Was it hope? A farewell? A message meant for her? Fans debated endlessly. Then, without any public statement, Yağmur quietly followed a fan page dedicated to their on-screen couple again. It was a small action, perhaps meaningless to some, but for their devoted followers, it was enough to spark new hope. Could this be a sign? Could the story that began as a scripted romance still find its way to a real-life ending worth believing in? As always, love refuses to follow logic. It slips through the cracks of reason, hides between the pauses of conversation, and sometimes, it lingers in silence long after the words have faded. At Mr. Magazine, we'll be watching closely, bringing you every heartbeat of this unfolding story, not as gossip, but as a reminder that even in the glittering world of fame, emotions remain painfully human. Before we wrap up, we want to hear from you. Do you believe Yağmur and Boris's connection still has a chance, or has their love turned into a beautiful ghost of the past? Tell us below. And if you've made it this far, don't forget to subscribe to Mr. Magazine, hit that join button to support our channel, and tap the bell icon so you never miss the next emotional twist in the stories that move Turkey. Because sometimes, the greatest dramas aren't written for the screen, they happen when the cameras stop rolling. This is Mr. Magazine, and until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and never stop believing in love that refuses to fade.